Okay, welcome back to the latest United podcast, the podcast of the official Man United Supporters Club here in New South Wales. Got Josh with us, the substitution for Larry. Larry has a late injury, so Josh has done his super sub role quite well. But just a reminder, you can see the banner across the bottom, which I've just seen, which just jogged my memory, that we are obviously still on all your podcast apps, so iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, etc. Just a stat popped up in our emails yesterday that we'd gone past 45,000 downloads of our audio-only podcast. So again, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know about numbers, if it's a good or a bad number, but for us, it does sound pretty cool to have 45,000 downloads. So remember, all our match reviews and sort of longer podcasts of these YouTube versions, they do go up on there. So if you do listen to podcasts sort of on your walk or your exercise, make sure you do search United Pubcast in your favourite podcast app, and you can pick all those up. But Josh is here for the League Cup preview, our second game against West Ham this week. How are you, mate?
Yeah, really good, mate. Still on a bit of a high from obviously Sunday night. I think I've watched Lingard fight winner De Gea say probably about 20, 30 times today alone. So
what was bigger for you? What was bigger for you in terms of what you're going back and sort of almost celebrating when you're watching? Is it the Lingard goal or is it the De Gea save? Like what is the one that does it for you? Because I think some people are focusing on the save, some people are focusing on the top corner winner.
I think for me, the save. I think with Lingard, you always know if you give him time and space, he's a quality finisher. So there's no doubt in his mind. I think we're just with De Gea, the fact that he's not saved the penalty. I think since the Lukaku penalty in the FA Cup semi-final. I mean, and also again, I think he saved another one against Everton, wasn't it, in the league? I think that was his last save.
Leighton Baines, the season before.
And everything that happened in the Europa League final, it was really good to see. And I think it was great for his confidence as well.
Yeah, no, definitely.
About 50 times.
Yeah, some of the comments here, evening from Brian, Jamie, one of our listeners from Northern Ireland. G'day, mate. And Paul morning also. Obviously, let us know where you're listening from, mate, because I'm obviously evening here, but I'm good to have you with us. But obviously, League Cup preview, just a bit of a short, sharp video just to sort of kill a little bit of time. Obviously, still stuck in lockdown here in Sydney, so a little bit of content before a Thursday morning kickoff. Not an ideal time. I think it's a 4:45 a.m. kickoff on Thursday morning, I have a feeling. So not fantastic, but we have been blessed with some good kickoff times. And obviously, Saturday night against Aston Villa here in Sydney is 9:30 on a Saturday night, which is absolutely prime time for us. So the 4:45 game against West Ham is the price you do have to pay. And good mate of mine, Elliot, mate, hope you are keeping well. But we'll get into it and just sort of whenever the first round of the League Cup, or I don't know what round it is, third or whatever, second or third round, but it's our first appearance in the League Cup. We always talk about rotation. It doesn't matter if we're playing Arsenal, Manchester City, or West Ham, or Leyton Orient, or Rochdale. We'll always talk about rotation and the importance of using the squad and how important the League Cup is. Okay, yes, it's a trophy, but if you were to rank all the trophies, it's the less of the trophies sort of thing. So just how are you thinking in terms of going into this, in terms of how important is it? Because yes, it is at the bottom of our list, but the top of Solskjaer's list is a trophy. And while this is potentially Manchester City's trophy, I don't know how many times they've won it in the past 5 years. We kind of make a joke that it is. And if they do want to win it, which Pep Guardiola often does, they will go and win it most likely because, look, I know there's a lot of hype around us and Chelsea at the moment, but Manchester City are very good and arguably the best team in the country. So how are you weighing up this League Cup campaign in regards to Solskjaer's goals and sort of squad rotation?
I think realistically, he has got to rest, some key players. I think it's going to still weigh heavily on his mind that, we've not won a trophy under Solskjaer yet. And that's going to be probably an important factor going into the game, which is probably why he won't go for the typical changes you'd associate in this tournament in the past, maybe 6-7 years ago, especially under Fergie, where he'd field probably a lot of the youngsters and the reserve players. I think I wouldn't be surprised if some big names started, such as Pogba.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I just seen a few people here commenting in regards to what's it on in Australia in terms of the TV rights, but I see some people answering the questions as well. And Ryan just left a comment here saying, let's try Van der Beek and McTominay in the holding role for tomorrow's game, maybe Lindelof and Varane, see how they work together, which will be interesting. I think with McTominay, which I read an interesting article, I'm so excited to have McTominay back. But if you do actually look back at his sort of recent couple of years, I'd say he's injury prone, but he does pick up an injury or two. So he's off the back of surgery, had 90 minutes. Do you have 90 minutes? Yeah, he didn't get subs. He had 90 minutes against West Ham. So we're thinking, okay, this is a chance to throw him in. They're getting some more minutes. However, is that almost rushing him back? Do you need to give him a rest after the game against West Ham, the league game?
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised personally. He started against West Ham. I thought this would have been the game. This game in the League Cup would have been the game for him to start to get those minutes and sort of recover back from that injury under his belt. I mean, no one's really going to criticise him majorly for a performance in a game like this. It's sort of a chance to get your squad back to full fitness as well. So yeah, I was a bit surprised, but I probably wouldn't. I probably would on the back of that actually. Sorry, give him the full 90 minutes in this game as well, just to get his fitness up. I think it's a good opportunity for him. I think Van der Beek may get an upgrade as well, in the sense that he'd probably be his first reserve off the bench. He's likely to come on. Don't think he'll start. But yeah, it's a good opportunity for Scott.
Well, what one here, we'll get into sort of starting 11s just towards the end, but just one name that's popped up here, George, just throwing up Cavani for me, has to start if he's fit, which look I completely agree with. But the question, maybe someone else or Josh, if you know, but someone in the comments can help George and I out. If he's fit, I just have not heard anything. I know he's in and around he doesn't have a serious injury or anything, but it is a little bit quiet. And in terms of all the training photos, he's not really in and around the team. As Phil Jones is, because I want to talk Phil Jones and get your thoughts in on Phil Jones in the comments, hopefully positive comments, because we do want to sort of have a little bit of a discussion around him. He obviously has he's had a few interviews recently, but he's also done the Man United podcast, which Josh, you were just saying comes out tomorrow, so it hasn't been released yet. So maybe by the time you're listening to this, it has been. I urge everyone to go and download it, because I'll definitely be doing it, because some fascinating quotes. And look, he's been a joke. He hasn't been a joke, but he's been the brunt of all jokes for God knows how long. And you do sort of, we've taken a little bit of banter, sort of taking the piss against him, but we've always sort of caveated with saying, look, you feel sorry for him. Like we've almost said, look, it's gone beyond that, and you just have to feel sorry for him as a person, because he's a professional footballer who just hasn't been able to get fit. And we've questioned certain things like, well, should he have gone to another club sort of thing? But then we've also had the discussion with Jesse Lingard saying, well, he wants to play for Man United. Who are we to sort of knock a person of that opportunity? So Phil Jones' interview apparently talks about his struggles, sort of trying to get back fit, how he's dealt with sort of online trolls, etc. So I'm very fascinated to see that interview. But my main question before we get into that, Josh, it does look like he's in and around training. He's played for the under-23s 2 or 3 times. Is he potentially going to return and have a appearance for the first team this week?
I mean, I like seeing him get an opportunity, and I think a game like West Ham is a good opportunity. Obviously, in the League Cup, there's no such thing. Obviously, as a Leicester trophy at the moment, because obviously the importance of Solskjaer to win a trophy is first and foremost. But in a sort of a tournament like this, it's a great opportunity. I think in an ideal situation, if we were playing like a lesser opponent that wasn't a Premier League team, I think he'd have more of an opportunity of starting. But I just don't think he's had sort of that opportunity. I know he played a few games in the under-23s, but the under-23s is a different standard to playing West Ham in the League Cup. I don't know if he'd start. I wouldn't be surprised if he's on the bench and he does get a couple of minutes, maybe towards the end of the game if we are, protecting the lead. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes on, but I probably wouldn't start him in a game like today. However, I would like to see him get an opportunity this season. And I think the more opportunities he gets, I can't see him getting a regular appearance in the squad, but I think he'll increase his chances and get him a loan spell as well, maybe in the January window. Because I think that's probably what he's looking for. And I think that's why he's probably not on loan at the moment, is because he's not had that game time. He's come back from a really long-term injury. Who's realistically going to take a chance and invest in probably the competitive leagues? You're probably looking at Championship realistically, and he's not going to go there.
Yeah, do you think that off the back of this, because as I said, he's been the brunt of all these jokes for years and years, but I think a lot of United fans always do have a bit of a soft spot for him. And he's almost been this outcast. And I remember, I've told a few people this, I remember when we were over in Perth, I was lucky enough to go to one of the training sessions, and I was walking through a tunnel sort of when the players were walking out and I was walking back out of the ground. And it was the night after Phil Jones scored against Leeds, again, over in Perth. And all the players were in their little groups walking out together, but Phil Jones is walking by himself, and I walked past him. But he was at work, so I didn't want to ask for an autograph or photo or anything. So I just nodded and said, "Good goal last night." And he was almost taken aback, going, "Oh, geez, thank you." He remembered I scored. It was almost like even the feeling I got then, even that he was outcast from the teammates, he was like almost surprised someone remembered that he scored a goal, sort of thing. And I do have the feeling, I'm sure that's not the case. I'm sure he does have sort of close relationships with people at the club. But do you think off the back of this podcast and sort of the feel-good factor around Man United at the moment, he'll almost, which he almost is a bit of a cult hero already, kind of, But do you think this will almost, the fans will really get behind him if he does able to sort of come off the bench and make an appearance? He'll almost get that, not rapturous applause, but there'll be a really warm reception for him?
I think so, yeah, because he's not really a player that's had terrible performances. He's just been burdened by a lot of injuries. So I think the brunt of the joke is the fact that I've said this to you, it's the Phil Jones cycle. He'll come on after not playing for a couple of months. The first game would be like, why is Jones playing? And then you'll build up a cycle where he can, his performance has improved. Then he sort of becomes undroppable, and then he gets injured again. And that's sort of where the brunt of the joke lies. I really hope that's the last of it with his injuries, because no one really deserves to go through what he's gone through. Yeah, we have a laugh and a joke about it in terms of that, but in terms of his mental health, and that's probably a big thing at the moment as well, a lot of people talking about it. It can't be good on that. There's probably times where it's probably gotten to him in his head as well. I mean, Twitter trolls, social media trolls don't help him. So yeah, I hope he does get the reception he deserves if he does get the chance to play.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, he always comes. I just seen a comment here. He could be the answer to the number 6 problems we're having. And George's comments here saying he played for the number 6 role in the 23s and he just looked out of place. Unfortunately, it's harsh for someone, and Jones shows that. Just can't see him playing for United again. I think he'll almost get not that testimonial, which even Phil Jones has joked about, but I think Solskjaer will do his best to get him out on the pitch, whether it be we're 5-0 up in December against someone and he throws him on in injury time. I think Solskjaer, as you mentioned, we were discussing earlier, has been through similar troubles as well with injury and understands that road back. So I think Solskjaer will do his best to get him back out there.
He's empathetic towards him. He's been through the same boat, 2005, 2006. And West Ham, they're in a state where they know they're not going to get top 4. So realistically for them, a great season for Moyes would be getting in Europe and winning a trophy. And probably their best chance of winning a trophy as well is the Carabao Cup. So it's going to be a really competitive game. No game's an easy game.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Carabao, Prem just left a comment here. Evening, lads, what does Carabao taste like? And I wouldn't have a clue. Do you know what it is? I assume it's like a sports drink, like a Powerade thing, or is it more of an energy base?
It tastes like a cut price Red Bull.
It's an energy type drink, is it?
Yeah, and they sell outside the games before the game. They give you like little sample ones before the Carling Cup or Carabao Cup now.
I'm sure Jordan Pickford's all over those free samples. But Rob here saying, evening lads on the missus phone. Hope you're well behaved, Rob. 1 or 2 more comments here. George, if Jones plays, Mikel Antonio would end his career, and the online trolls would just come back with even bigger vengeance. Well, Mikel Antonio is definitely going to play. And just 2 more comments here. Ryan, last time I saw Phil Jones was in a nightclub in Chester. He can't start tomorrow. He needs to establish himself on the pitch with the reserves first and get competitive minutes under his belt. And Josiah also, he can take the gloves, which we'll get into to wrap up the podcast in regards to the starting 11. Jesse Lingard, which Solskjaer confirmed he will start. Not often they do that, but Solskjaer has confirmed that. Wouldn't be surprised if we see Eric, Victor, Diego, Martial, and Mata all feature. And I've just seen here, Elliot, good mate of mine, he knows exactly what I'm thinking. Love to see Mata get a start. And I'm just going to spend the next 30 seconds, Josh, convincing you, but also the listeners, of why one Mata should start. First of all, he hasn't had a kick. So we're talking about Donny van der Beek not getting enough minutes. Is Lingard a starter? Is he not a starter? Well, he's getting minutes. He's scoring goals. Victor Lindelof's had minutes. One Mata just hasn't had minutes. And this could be, I wouldn't say the easiest game, but this first round of the League Cup is the only time, and he's not a League Cup player for me. In my opinion, One Mata is one of our best footballers and most intelligent players. In my opinion, if I'm the manager, that's a type of player I will want on the pitch more often than not. But if you're trying to sort of, One Mata will come in those lesser games, the easier games to sort of rotate the side. It's usually in this first round of the League Cup. However, we've got a top 10 opposition. We're not playing Wickham or Rochdale or a lower half Premier League team. We've got a very hard opposition. So I'm just thinking it's very hard to just throw One Mata in sort of cold. You look at the Mark Noble effect, obviously different scenario, but you just can't throw someone in and just expect a result straight away. One Mata has simply had no football. So while I agree we should be playing One Mata, I think it's a tough spot to throw him in terms of, I don't know, is Declan Rice going to be playing in midfield type of thing? So it will be interesting. But the reason I want One Mata to get minutes, not only because I want to see him play and I think he'll help the team, I truly think in terms of the way we're playing with Cristiano Ronaldo, and obviously Ronaldo won't be involved against West Ham, but if we have an injury crisis and One Mata starts playing Premier League football, I just want everyone to picture in their minds how we've been playing since Ronaldo's come in. Look at pretty much all the goals, except the second goal against Newcastle, where Luke Shaw broke through and played him through. Every single goal has come from United having the ball on sort of 5 metres outside the corner of the box type area where the Greenwood shot came in, where Bruno Fernandes's cross for the young boys goal came in, and obviously Bruno Fernandes, again, on the other side, 5 metres outside the corner of the box, floats across into Ronaldo. And I'm just thinking so often, and Ronaldo has changed the way we play in regards to when Bruno Fernandes gets the ball, because a lot of play does go through Bruno. Bruno's first instinct is looking up, where's Ronaldo? Okay, and Juan Mata so often picks the ball up in that area and tries to, his first instinct is always to whip a ball in, but the striker he's been whipping balls into previously have been Anthony Martial, Marcus Rashford. It's not their game. So Mata always looks for that, realizes it's not the right opportunity, so sort of plays the ball out, recycles possession out. I think if Juan Mata picks the ball up in that area, he'll see Ronaldo, and Juan Mata has it doesn't even really cross the ball. He just almost floats a pass in there. And I just think that's the way we're playing at the moment. We get the ball in that position looking for Ronaldo, but at the moment it's Wan-Bissaka or Luke Shaw who's not most comfortable with crossing. So I think if we do get Juan Mata in that position, I think he'll link up extremely well with Ronaldo, because I think one of the best strikers Mata has linked up well with in previous seasons is Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I think he's sort of worked up a really good partnership with him. And I'm not saying Ronaldo and Zlatan are the same striker, but you can definitely draw similarities. So I'm just thinking, I'm definitely starting Juan Mata. Do you think one should get a start, or secondly will get a start? Because Jesse Lingard's going to start. Jadon Sancho most likely starts. Donny van der Beek most likely or potentially starts. Is there room for Juan Mata in this one?
I think there is room for Juan Mata personally. I mean, I'd start him. I'm in full agreement with you. The reason being, I think West Ham will approach the game very differently to how they approached it at the weekend. I think in some elements, they will probably sit quite deep, but it's going to need some form of intelligence, probably to break them down and have those creative passes. I think Juan Mata is probably the answer to that. In my eyes, I think he 100% actually starts the game. I'd be really surprised if he didn't.
How do you think West Ham, we're having a discussion on how important the trophy is and squad rotation. How do West Ham treat this as well? Because, okay, they've had the back of an important Premier League game, but they've also got the league. They've also got the Europa League. But in terms of a trophy, they've gone, I don't know how long without a trophy. I think 1980 or 79. 1980, I think, was their last trophy, FA Cup. So they've gone just as long. Or not just as long, even longer, I should say. So are they treating this as they're going to go full strength? Obviously got Antonio back, or do you think they're sort of still got European aspirations in regards to finishing high up in the Premier League and almost David Moyes? And I don't want to say he has a bad mentality, but it wouldn't shock you if he's the sort of manager who will almost throw this game and say, look, probably going to lose anyway. I'll play a rotated side and sort of keep everyone fit for the weekend.
I don't think he'd throw it in that respect. I think he probably does favour the Europa League over the League Cup, and I think that's just purely because West Ham, in a while since West Ham have been in the European competition, he'll want to treat the fans to the best possible cup run as possible, regardless of how, I won't say detrimental, but the impact playing in Europa League has on a Thursday and the amount of games you have on a Sunday and the recovery time you have, it does really take its toll on the team. Didn't really show that for them personally at the weekend. I thought they played really well, West Ham personally. I think he'd probably favour that tournament over the Carling Cup. I wouldn't say he'd throw it. I'd expect a full side, and that's just due to the fact that key players such as Antonio were suspended for the game. Yarmolenko usually gets a good run in the squad, obviously came off the bench, so he'd rotate it in that respect, maybe giving them the chance. But I'd probably expect Rice to start, Fabianski in net as well. I couldn't see too many changes for them. The only thing I maybe see is Zuma maybe at the back might not start, and he'd put in Diop.
Hasn't Fabianski turned into a decent keeper? Remember when he was at Arsenal and he was regarded as potentially the world's worst goalkeeper? Now he's gone to West Ham and I think he's bouncing around a couple of clubs and he's always been a good goalkeeper.
Someone said as well, I read this stat the other day, United had the most amount of shots in the first half than any other team against West Ham. You wouldn't think that watching the game, would you?
No. Yeah, no. Well, I've seen some articles today saying United were woeful against West Ham, and so it's from some Liverpool journalists, which has been amusing to watch unfold on Twitter. But we will get in just not a starting 11, but sort of talk about who we expect to play in terms of those first team players who needs minutes to wrap up the podcast. But my mum is tuned in, and she's looking forward to seeing Ronaldo and Juan Mata both play. George say Mark Noble 2 penalty misses in 2 games after Bay has a brain explosion in the box. Or Eric Bay, he's probably next on my list to wrap this up. And Ryan, we need any trophy we can get our hands on this year. Ollie will be scrutinised and judged by some fans if we win nothing, which is my thing in terms of, is there a first team player? Okay, they're all first team players. They're in the first team, but is there that star, Bruno Fernandes, I don't want to say Ronaldo, but is Ronaldo in your thinking? Is there a Pogba? Is there maybe a Maguire or Varane? Can you see, because we're all saying rotation, but at the moment, where's the names we're throwing out there, in our minds, we're saying, okay, there's going to be 11 changes. Solskjaer, it would be stupid. Well, I don't know if it's stupid or not to make 11 changes. So which of those star players, because our team quite is star-studded at 1 to 11, who do you think is going to play? I could see a situation where Varane might play, maybe a Varane and Lindelof.
My thinking in this is I actually think Maguire starts. Maguire starts at the back. I think
one of the central defenders should play. I think definitely one of the central defenders should play.
I think so as well. You just need that composure. And I think I won't be surprised. I really won't be surprised if Maguire starts. I think Varane probably makes the most sense. I won't be. I think the biggest surprise, and you say this like Ronaldo shouldn't start the game, but I think, or even being the squad, in my opinion, I think you should give him a night off fully. But
I don't know what the bench is. I know the Champions League is 9 on the bench. I'm not sure if the League Cup is 9 on the bench or what the sub situations is. But could you see a situation like, okay, you're saying giving the night off, 0-0 and 0-0 sort of coming into the last 20 minutes, and you're thinking, Solskjaer's thinking, geez, if I get knocked out of this tournament, hang on, I've got Ronaldo on the bench. Do you think it's quite safety measure to have on the bench?
No, I don't think so. And I'll go back to Ryan's comment now. He says we need any trophy we can get our hands on this year. And for me, it'd be great to win the League Cup, but I just don't think that's enough this year to say we've won the League Cup.
It might not be enough, but it's Solskjaer needs something in his back pocket. If we finish third or fourth, if we finish third or fourth at the end of the season, and you think, God, we didn't really put up a title challenge, got knocked out of the round of 16, the Champions League, FA Cup didn't do anything. Well, I've got something. I've got a League Cup. I've made that first step of getting one trophy. He'll need that. If we finish third or fourth and get knocked out of the Champions League and no League Cup, then it's starting to sort of question his job security.
Of course, yeah, no doubt about that. I think we'll need a bit more. I think if you were to win just the League Cup, or if you were to win just the FA Cup, I think the FA Cup is a bit more acceptable. Yeah. You get away with that a little bit more. But obviously, there's no taking away the importance of the trophy. Yeah, you can't deny that.
Yeah, no, completely agree. And look, it will be interesting, but until McTominay and Fred line up, we won't get the idea of Solskjaer's thinking before this. But George is saying, looking forward to Arsenal hopefully bottling it against Wimbledon. Well, the League Cup always does throw up a weird couple of results. City, obviously, I saw they got Wycombe Wanderers again. It's like every single League Cup they play 6 games against Wycombe and Rochdale sort of thing. But any other final thoughts?
Shout out to former school mate who plays for Wycombe.
Does he?
Jacobson. Yeah.
Does Zach and Fenway still play for them? I think he's still there. Still there. So I think there are a few interesting times. I think Chelsea have Aston Villa, which I think Aston Villa are one of the teams. Maybe don't know how Chelsea are going to rotate, but I'm not saying Aston Villa are going to beat Chelsea because obviously Chelsea do look very strong at the moment. But if I was sort of putting money on a little bit of an upset, wouldn't be shocked at maybe Aston Villa doing something. But I always get excited about the League Cup. I do put it at the bottom tier of those trophies, and it's not the priority. But I always think it's
it's always great atmosphere. Always fantastic atmosphere. It's one of them games. If you go to Old Trafford, you see a lot of empty. We're like the Etihad for today. There'll be quite a lot of empty seats, but the atmosphere is.
I think sometimes they don't even open the third tier. Sometimes.
No, keep it closed. Sometimes, yeah, depends on the opposition.
Yeah, but it's one of those ones. I think also the added. I don't know if it changes the dynamic of a potential game, but we're just discussing that. I'm pretty sure last season they didn't have extra time. If it's 0-0 or a draw, there's no extra time. It goes straight to penalties, and that does throw an interesting dynamic. If it's a level with 20 minutes to go or one goal in it with 20 minutes to go, suddenly you're one kick away from going to penalty shootouts, and you're thinking, geez, that changes things. So it does throw an interesting dynamic if the game is close.
It does, yeah. I mean, if anyone could help us out there, does it go to penalties after 90 minutes or is it extra time? I think it is the penalties, isn't it?
Someone send David Moyes and Mark Noble a text. I'm sure they'll be all over it. But George saying I suspect Lingard, which we just haven't discussed, but I'm sure, potentially should be on the bench at least. So hopefully he does get a run. But outside chance making a sub appearance, and completely forgot about him. We should have been talking about him, Hannibal, players like that. And look, hopefully we are comfortable 2-3-0 up, and those couple of players do come on. Obviously, after one matter does get his 2 goals or 3 goals, then he can be substituted and rested for the weekend. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Make sure you have left a like on the video, please. And if you aren't subscribed, please hit subscribe. Almost at 200 subscribers. And a reminder, as I said at the start of the podcast or start of the episode, that we are on your audio podcast platforms like sort of Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, etc. All our match reviews and sort of the longer episodes will go up on there, so you can tune in and sort of download them for your exercise or your walk. But just one or two more comments as we wrap up. George also saying it's correct up until the semi-finals, out straight to penalties. And the last one from Ryan in terms of starting 11, De Gea, Shaw, Lindelof, Varane. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe Varane and Lindelof. Wan-Bissaka. Actually, Diego Dalot has to start for me. It'll be interesting, but Dalot for me. Donny, McTominay, Lingard, Sancho, Greenwood, and he's going full strength. Well, I wouldn't say full strength, but he's throwing Ronaldo in there, so that's full strength in my opinion. But look, Ronaldo will want to play. It'll be a brave decision by Solskjaer, but potentially, in my opinion, the right decision. I would have him on the bench just in case. If we're dominating, you need a goal. I could definitely see Ronaldo coming on. But always a pleasure, Josh, chatting to you, and always a pleasure, everyone in the comments. I'm getting involved. Really appreciate it. You setting an alarm for 4:45 on Thursday?
I am, yeah. I am, because I'm doing a challenge at the moment. I'm doing this September challenge, so I'll watch the game, go for an early morning walk before work, straight after. That'd be me. Good excuse.
Good excuse, definitely. Fingers crossed. I was going to say 3 points, but fingers crossed for a progression into the next round. But as I said, we'll be back on Thursday night. Larry will return, and we'll have a sort of post-match review Thursday night, discussing the victory, hopefully against West Ham, and again, hopefully discussing a one-matter double and maybe a late Cristiano Ronaldo.
A fourth round draw against Wickham.
Well, I don't know. We haven't been playing teams like Reading and Wigan. We haven't played those for a while. We usually get them in those early stages of the tournament. But I could see it's maybe getting a big tie, like I don't know, Chelsea or someone. I could see a big tie in the League Cup the next round. But time will tell. We obviously do have a tough task in West Ham. I think we're all giddied at the moment because Ronaldo's here and we've beaten West Ham, but they are a sort of very established Premier League side, so it will be tricky, but fingers crossed we do get the result and go through. So thank you everyone in the comments. Make sure you do leave a like on the video and hit that subscribe button. A big thank you to Josh, and we'll be back on Thursday night reviewing the match. Cheers.